the leaders from Gujarat who are there at the center. And that, I think, loops back to the state, right? I mean, it makes them feel a sense of ownership, a sense of pride. And so whatever anti-incumbency you may feel towards a local leader gets eroded when you have a national leader whom you see as your own.
The battle for Gujarat has begun. Voting for the 182-member Gujarat Assembly will be held in 2 phases next month, December 1st and December 5th, and while votes will be counted on the 8th of December. Now, except 1990, Gujarat Assembly elections have largely been bipolar for almost 5 decades. But every opinion poll right now, including Lokniti, CSDS, C Voter, they are all predicting a 3-cornered contest with AAP getting a significant vote share this time. I'm joined by the paper's, the Hindustan Times editor-in-chief, Sukumar Ranganathan, to just understand what's happening in Gujarat this time, what's likely to happen. Sukumar, what are the implications? This 3-cornered contest versus a traditionally 2-cornered contest.
It means different things for different people, clearly. And I think it's important to also understand the context of this election and how it's different from the 2017 election. 2017 was actually the BJP's worst performance since it came to power in 1998. Of course, technically it came to power in 1995, but then there was a defection, a party was created,
right.
There was president's rule for a short duration, and then in 1998 they came to power and it's been uninterrupted since then. So there are sections within the BJP who even for this election refer to it as 27 years of uninterrupted rule, but in truth it's 24 years of uninterrupted rule. Creates a lot of anti-incumbency. It's very difficult to govern for this period of time without some sort of friction creeping in. Correct. With some constituency or the other.
Correct.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is a big thing for any party to combat. And in 2017, by which time they had governed for 19 years, this sort of spilled over, and there were multiple reasons why it spilled over, but 2 main ones. The first one was the Patidar agitation. Now the Patidars are like any other traditional dominant agrarian community in India, and the unfortunate aspect has been that because of diminishing returns agriculturally, one reason why the farm reforms were needed. But because of diminishing returns in agriculture, many of these traditionally predominant farming communities are unhappy. And they look around them and they see people who once used to be lower than them in both the social hierarchy as well as the economic hierarchy who are doing better. And they have been pushing for reservation in educational institutions, in government jobs, because they want to get some of that stature back. So the Patidar agitation was pretty strong. I mean, it was at its strongest in 15-16. The elections came in 17. Yeah. The second aspect was GST, which was introduced in 2017. And GST, of course, ensured compliance by even small manufacturers. Now, in various parts of Gujarat, there are small manufacturers who used to enjoy tax arbitrage. I'm not saying they were dishonest, but their business models were made more viable by the fact that many of them didn't pay tax, right? But except with, if you're let's say you're making tiles, and I'm taking this because Morbi tile making
right.
So the way it used to work was people, even very small units with 5 people and 7 people could make tiles, but then they would supply to slightly larger outlets, which would then supply to bigger companies. Now these bigger companies are in the formal economy. And what GST did was, if the bigger company, to avail input tax credit, had to make sure that these guys had to pay tax.
And therefore, yeah.
So the entire supply chain was made tax compliant, which created a lot of irritation among these small guys in Gujarat, small businessmen in Gujarat. And so these two factors
contributed to the BJP's
and there was
decline in vote share.
Decline in vote share, more in rural areas than in urban areas, or semi-rural areas, semi-urban areas than in urban areas, but it did result in the number of seats they won going down. 99 was what they won during the election. It's since gone up to 111 because of defections and by-elections. And there was that negative sentiment about the BJP in 2017. The most important thing we have to realize about 2022 is that overwhelming negative sentiment is not there.
It's gone.
It's not there, right? So there's a big difference between 2017 and 2022. There is another big difference this time, which is the Congress. The Congress in 2017 was the primary opposition to the BJP in Gujarat, put up its best performance in years, seemed to have its act together, doesn't appear to be the case now. Also, this time, there is a third player in the field, which is the Aam Aadmi Party. If you look at what is happening on the ground at this point in time, the Aam Aadmi Party probably has a more energetic and a more effective campaign than the Congress in Gujarat.
Right.
And the party, while it is taking on the BJP, because I think it is in its own interest, right? I mean, if you're a political party and you want stature, you're obviously going to take on the dominant player. But so while it's targeting the BJP, I think AAP's calculations are that it could win votes at the expense of the Congress. And perhaps even emerge as the second largest player. I mean, may or may not happen,
right?
But which would in turn completely alter the dynamics of the opposition. So I think for the BJP per se, I don't think there is any threat in Gujarat at this point in time. That's how it looks now. Right, I mean, a month is a long time in politics.
I was about to say that, yeah.
But at this point in time, that's how it looks. With the caveat that in 2017, it was the last 2 weeks of campaigning that really saw the BJP through.
Correct.
Right? So anything can happen in the course of the campaign, but at this point in time, the BJP doesn't seem to be in any sort of trouble. The interesting fight will be between the Congress and AAP. And this could actually shape what happens between now and 2024.
I'll come to that. But let me talk about the two opinion polls. I mean, there are many opinion polls, but the two slightly more credible ones are, of course, CSDS and Lokniti and C Voter. Now, both these opinion polls have predicted a sweep for the BJP yet again in Gujarat. With a marginally lesser vote share. They were what, 49%.
Yeah, they were almost at 50%, 49 point something.
Last time and in 2017, and now this time they're predicting about 43 to 45. But more than that, you talked about anti-incumbency. Why is anti-incumbency not in play for the BJP for the longest time? It's been decades now, and the BJP has been there. It's been almost 5 terms. Anti-incumbency is a thing in politics. Why is it not? These opinion polls don't seem to, they again seem to suggest that there's no anti-incumbency.
2 reasons, really. The first one is you must remember that for 12 and a half years out of the period that these people have been in power, or is it more? 12 and a half. Narendra Modi was the chief minister of the state, almost 13 years. Extremely popular chief minister, no question of anti-incumbency as long as he was there. Now the prime minister, the home minister Amit Shah is also from Gujarat.
Right.
Again, a lot of the success in Gujarat was attributed to the ground level work that was done by Amit Shah. Everyone speaks about the Gujarat model of development, but there is a Gujarat model of fighting elections, going down to the booth level, appointing people to look after each one of these. And a lot of this, the credit for a lot of this has been given to Amit Shah. I mean, so very strong in terms of the leaders from Gujarat who are there at the center. And that, I think, loops back to the state, right? I mean, it makes them feel a sense of ownership, a sense of pride. And so whatever anti-incumbency you may feel towards a local leader gets eroded when you have a national leader whom you see as your own. So that's one factor. The other more immediate and more tactical factor is that last year the entire Council of Ministers was changed by the BJP, including the Chief Minister. And so they've just moved. And the jury is still out on whether they are going to do what they do in many other states, which is not give up to a third of your sitting MLAs tickets. Because there is a rival point of view that because they don't want to take any chances by having rebel candidates who could come and spoil the election, because this time they know that it's a three-cornered fight with AAP also coming in. So they just want to make sure that there isn't a fourth vertex in this contest which is created by a rebel contestant. So they probably may not adopt the same model that they've done elsewhere, which means they could well retain a lot of their sitting legislators. But they've clearly been thinking very smartly about how to combat anti-incumbency. So this time on the ground, there isn't too much anti-incumbency, although the issues in Gujarat are pretty much the same issues elsewhere. A lot of people speak about the handling of COVID, but I think with the exit of the previous government, that negativity sort of went. But unemployment and price rise are still a problem. The question is also how effectively can the opposition play up these issues? And not just in Gujarat, but even at the national level, I do not think the opposition has been very successful in playing up economic issues.
Right. So anti-incumbency non-existent, almost non-existent. But let's talk about the Congress for a bit. It was in a very good position in 2017 with an almost 40% vote share. Right now, most opinion polls are giving them about 30% vote share, which means that a large chunk of the
20, I thought, right?
Between 20 and 30. So a large chunk of the vote share of the Congress, they seem to be giving to AAP. So as you pointed out in your initial, observation about the impending elections, it is the Congress's vote share that the Aam Aadmi Party is hoping to steal away, that Arvind Kejriwal has his eyes on. Now, if they are able to do that, if the projections become a reality, do you think AAP will then emerge as a serious national political player? I mean, it's a no-brainer, it will. But do you think that, I remember us talking about this after the Punjab win, and you said it's still a long way off. If Gujarat goes according to what is being shown, then they become the main opposition to the BJP in that state. How do you think that's going to impact AAP's national ambitions?
I think you have to make a distinction here. In terms of presence in states, in terms of performance in elections, yes, the AAP will become the AAP's profile as an opposition party will be enhanced if it does well in Gujarat. And by well, I don't mean winning the election and forming the government, but I mean doing creditably enough to perhaps displace the Congress as the second largest party in the state in terms of seats, if not in terms of votes. Very likely, because most of if we've been looking at the same polls, they've been giving both parties pretty much the same, right? In the low 20s in terms of vote share. Yeah. But I still think that there is, and which is why I said we need to make this distinction. The Congress is a national opposition because around the country it has a 20% vote share. Translated into around, I think I may be wrong, but I think around 120 million votes in the 2019 election. That is a lot of votes. It is a lot of people. So AAP will have to enhance its presence significantly to become that. There are still many states where the Congress is the primary opposition. Take the other state which is going to polls now. I know from the Lok Sabha perspective, it's not such an important state. Himachal Pradesh, the Congress is the primary opposition. In Uttarakhand, the Congress was the primary opposition. The states where elections will happen, the important states where elections will happen next year, which is Karnataka, the Congress is the primary opposition. In Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and in Rajasthan, where it is in power. I mean, so it's going to be. So these are all states where there are no other opposition parties, either no other opposition parties, or you have opposition parties which are not really big players, right? I mean, the Janata Dal, yes, might think that it is a very significant player in Karnataka, but in truth, it actually isn't. I mean, it's there, but it's not in the same league as either the Congress or the. So yes, it will enhance AAP's profile as an opposition party, and it will obviously boost their chances for the 2027 Gujarat election, because let's not forget what happened in Punjab. Last time they did well. And the next time they swept. But the next time they also swept because of the farmers' agitation, because of what happened to the Akali Dal, because of the Congress sort of imploding from within. But all these are, I mean, the luck of the draw favored them, and they took complete advantage of that. Right. But you can't take credit away from them for sweeping that state. So AAP is an important player. This election could well boost its profile as a national opposition party. But the thing is, if you look at 2024, and a lot of speculation is going to start now, like it did the last time, about an opposition coming together, doing it. I just think that the more individual, relatively strong entities you have in the opposition, the lesser the chances of an united opposition forming. Because such kind of agglomeration tends to happen around a strong center. And previously the Congress used to be that strong center. And I think the Congress has
there are too many, wires for that strong center. There is a Mamata Banerjee and now, of course, Arvind Kejriwal coming up nice and bright. But just to sort of, do you see a united opposition coming up right now?
No.
At this? No. Okay. No united opposition. But I do want to ask you this question. If Arvind Kejriwal does manage to displace the Congress as the primary opposition party or the second largest party in Gujarat, what does this mean for the Congress really? They've been trying to, and now this entire Bharat Jodo Yatra which is happening, they've been trying to, I mean, there is a man who wants to be the king without wearing the crown, and he is walking on one path. On the other hand, there are elections and there is an internal elections within the party, and there is a Mallikarjun Kharge who's sort of become but he's not seen on the ground, and there's Rahul Gandhi walking. What's happening with the Congress, and how do you see that playing out?
All I want to say there is, I don't think Gujarat will decide what happens to the future of the Congress, even if they come third. I think the Congress's future is going to be decided in Karnataka middle of next year. If they win that election, I think it will give them a boost. There is a future. If they lose that election, things look very dire for that party.
All right. Thank you so much. And I hope, viewers, this was insightful to you, and possibly shed a little light on what's expected in Gujarat going forward. But very exciting times ahead, because Gujarat elections, because of the fact that our Prime Minister and our Home Minister, everybody is from that state, as Sukumar pointed out, every eye is on that particular state, especially the rise of Arvind Kejriwal and what it means for 2024 going forward. Thank you so much for watching this broadcast. We will keep coming back to you with more. Stay tuned to Hindustan Times.